Hi there. This is now another little video that I'm going to do. This is actually take two because I had some problems with the first one because I seem to be in the dark. I'm trying to do this in the bedroom where I can get the map up and everything else because it's pissing the rain outside. This is Wales after all. Anyway, I'd better start by saying I'm sorry about not quite slagging off the Picos and the Costas, but not being very enthusiastic about them, shall we say. I mean, the Picos is this little bit here, and what I'm going to do is I haven't got a camera woman at the moment. My daughter-in-law, Linos, I'm afraid, is not here, so I'll have to run away, zoom in, come back and cut and do the video together. But the Picos up here is literally that small bit. The main road that people use is the one that comes up through here, going past Potes. And Potes and Fuentedor are very spectacular, but it is a very small area. And I would say if you've been there once, then give it a few years before you bother going back and see what other places as spectacular that you can find. With the Costas, there are some nice ones. I mean, I was down near Almeria in Tabernas, mind you, that was many years ago. It was one of my first trips, and I accidentally booked into a brothel. Basically, I couldn't find anywhere to stay, and I saw a hotel, or looked like a hotel, and I went and asked, and it was a bit outside a village, and removed from it, which I didn't click at the time, but that's kind of a sign that it may have other functions. Let's say it may not have been a brothel, it was just rent by the hour rooms, I think. Anyway, they were reluctant to let me stay there, but I eventually persuaded them. I went up and had a lie down and started getting eaten by these horrible little flies. Plus, the toilet was broken and it was nasty. In the end, I just thought, no, I'll sleep in a ditch. Anyway, I went down to Carboneras and then along the coast down here, and ended up camping on the beach. I know it's now illegal, and possibly you would be stopped from doing it these days, but back then, which would have been about maybe 2003 or 4, somewhere around there wasn't a problem, and there were nice places. I just find that the coast is where it can take longer to get a conversation going with the locals, with Spanish people, and I like to use my bad Spanish just to try and make it clear that I'm not expecting them to speak my language. I'm going to try and speak their language. If they want to, then converse in English, well, that's fine, and that's their choice. But for me, that is what travel is about. Now, I was born a Womble. But then I was brought up in what was then Rhodesia, in hundreds of acres of bush. Didn't have a pair of shoes till I was 4 or 5 years old. And then I have, when I left school, I went to Zululand and worked on a sugarcane farm. I've lived and worked in Greece and Italy and across Europe. But I must say, I just love Spain and Portugal the most, which is why I keep going back and getting down into the nitty-gritty details of that country and exploring it time after time in different ways. So I did a self-guided itinerary for Stuart Rosser, I think it was, and some of his friends, and I found them a place. I think it was the Camping Playa Castellon, which is over here, and I believe they went there and found it very pleasant. It had cabins and things, which was nice, and it was on the beach. They wanted a day or two on the beach, as well as all the mountains that I gave them and the places that I do. So that is one thing that I can do for people. I mean, I give a lot of free advice anyway, but I can do a dedicated itinerary for you, and I charge £15 per day of itinerary. So that 10 days would be 150 quid. But if you split that down between 5 people, it's £5 a day or whatever it is. It's not expensive. I try and keep it at that price, and basically I do a survey with you first, a questionnaire, so I get to know what sort of things you want to do and see and all that, plus what sort of bikes you've got, because then I can design the tour. I mean, there are places in the Sierra here where I wouldn't send somebody on a huge Harley. The corners, and it's a bit steep, and there's a bit of gravel, and most people wouldn't particularly want to do it on a Harley. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is go back to talk about this. So I'm going to go away, zoom in, and then talk in more detail about these areas up here. That's about as tight as I can get on the map, so I'm not quite sure whether you can just see the end of my nose or whatever. But anyway, so here's Santander, and Verbena Bilbao is there. This road here is the N623, which is the fabulous road. There's a little trick to getting onto it because they signpost you going to Burgos, Madrid and everywhere else on the motorway that goes round the other side, and I avoid that. This is the Embalse de Ebro and the Puerta de Escudo here, which I talked about last time and got the height wrong. Anyway, this is the road through past Potes. Fuente de is underneath this little nipple there. Riaño is a good place to stay, as I've said, because it's over the top of the mountains. So if we're coming down through here, first of all, the Sierra del Hornijo. That is in here, and it's that sort of lump, that whitish lump there, and you can perhaps see, I'm not sure what the detail will be like, but there is a valley round either side, and you've seen the maps. Look at the video, slide video, and that which tells you about that area. And that gives you an idea. So that's there. If we come over here, coming down here past the Embalse, there's lots of different. I have a zigzag route in my book, Sketches of Spain, that goes backwards and forwards and all the way down to Burgos. About here is where Oberneja del Castillo is, and the Cascades. So again, the slide videos are there to have a look at that. I'm going to do another one, a little one about, Povo de la Sal is in here. So it's not off the main route. It's easy to fit it into going down to Burgos. And it's a great place to visit. There's slides there as well. And then down over here, I'm going to do a little bit about the Santuario de Santa Casilda. And there's a nice story there because I'll go into that in that little slide video that I will do.